Jumping on the Brita roller. Help me, somebody, help me. But apart from that, no. Good Lord, it's a warm one. Another video. My bear got me pregnant. Whoa! We have a video from another channel under the microscope today here at Jam. This one is brought to you by where people sending their stories, which some might say are factually dubious, and they pass them off as true. I mean, they may be true, but I'll let you form that opinion. Or it could be that just make them up from scratch. Who knows? Let me know in the comments if you think this is a true story or they are just making it up as they go along.
Hi, my name is Britta, and I'd like to tell you how my big teddy bear got me pregnant.
I mean, immediately you can see they've gone from my bear got me pregnant to my teddy bear got me pregnant, and there's quite a big difference there. A bear will kill you, it will claw you, eat you alive, take your head off, whereas a teddy bear is something that can give you comfort, that you can cuddle on a night to fall asleep. You can cry and talk to and tell your problems. It can be your friend even. People can have teddy bears as friends, and especially when they're lonely and life doesn't work out the way that they think it might. Yeah. Sorry, I'm struggling because I've got sweat in my eye. And you can also put holes in them. If you're an adolescent boy, you may put holes in them to practice your carnal knowledge. So very different, which is something that you definitely wouldn't be able to do with a bear. But for those of you that are a little bit disappointed, I recommend going to Amazon and looking for The Man Who Loved a Polar Bear and Other Therapist Tales. For those of you with that ursine love in you. Here we meet our protagonist, Britta. Paralysed down right side, never told why this is never explained in the story, but constantly wafting a fart with her left hand, a nice cup of eggy stench. That's probably why the cat sat perched on top of the chair and refuses to sit on her lap. And she also has this unnerving, steely look with her eyes. Looks a little bit like the Village of the Damned going on there. Very unnerving and very eerie.
What have you done to its eyes?
Very robotic as well, like a T1000, T1000, T2000, T1000. We've all met them, haven't we? Yeah.
So let's start from the beginning. I was kind of sheltered growing up. My parents always were really overprotective and didn't allow me to go to parties or anything of the sort. So I didn't get much freedom until I actually moved out to college. I got a scholarship, and my parents helped me pay for the dorm I was living in, which was awesome. Sure, we still talk on the phone all the time, but I was truly alone and making my own decisions for the first time in my life. That being said, since I was always so sheltered, I felt kind of alone and lost when I moved into my new place. It wasn't something I was used to, the whole making new friends and taking care of myself thing. So I struggled a bit, and it wasn't easy at first. I felt lonely all the time, and most of my nights were spent watching movies and eating frozen meals on my sofa.
So we have Britta. She's unworldly, callow, and feeling lonely, like so many of us do in these strange times. But that's a video for another day. So let's carry on with the story. Proceed. God, it's so hot. 32 degrees, good golly. Next, we get this modern day Hopper-esque frame of Britta and a guy in a laundrette. If you're in America, a laundromat. This is probably my favourite frame of the scene, so kudos there.
My nights were spent watching movies and eating frozen meals on my sofa. That was until I met this amazing guy, Bran, at the laundromat. I was sitting there, reading a book all by myself, and he just walked over to me and started talking. He said I seemed lonely, and it was such a big relief to have someone to speak to, you know? So we made a great connection right away, and it didn't take long for him to ask me out. He was super cute, and the first guy I really liked, so I said yes.
I think it just needs that little tweak here and there to really give it that alienation that Hopper was so famous for. If she was looking into the dryer or the washer as the clothes spun round with a look of ennui, and he was more to the edge of the frame just loading his clothes in, and their eyes didn't meet, so it give that sense of isolation more in these modern times that we feel, especially under lockdown. That doesn't really have anything to do with the story, so let's move on.
He helped me out so much as well. He taught me how to drive so that when I could finally afford a car, I wouldn't struggle with lessons. Bran also helped me out with different things around my dorm and gave me great tips on how to save money on super basic stuff I would have never thought of. But the best thing I learned from him was how to actually make friends in college and gain some confidence. Before him, I honestly sat in a corner of the classroom and left immediately after the teacher was done with the lesson. Bran showed me how to approach people without acting all awkward or shy. He was the one who took me to my very first party, and believe me, we had a great time. He was awesome. I fell madly in love with him, and we almost immediately went steady. It was as if we were never apart. He began sleeping over in my apartment, and of course, he had a key to it, so that he could just come over whenever he wanted to.
Now this is a little bit sloppy. We see Bran is wearing the same clothes that he wore out at that bar with the jolly man to the side of him, drinking his beers with his big rosy cheeks smiling. He's wearing the same clothes there in Britta's bed as well. I mean, maybe that's the colorist lazy on the animator or the colorist stuff. Actually, yeah, it could be the animator because they've decided to only animate that one side of her body, and maybe they're with the colours as well. I don't know. But who knows? Maybe Bran in real life was a stink bag.
Soon after we started dating, though, I decided I needed to learn how to cook, and Bran actually helped me pay for the lessons. Yeah, he was pretty great. Or so I thought. Because as long as I stayed with him, Bran was the kind of guy who gave you everything he had, and was so sweet. But the second we started drifting apart, well, things got weird. Not at first, anyway. He was really sly about it, and I didn't discover his disgusting plans until it was far too late. Bran was also super smart. He aced all his classes and helped me with my homework.
This is an important part. So remember, she said Bran is super smart and aces all his classes. So we're going to come back to that because this is key in some doubts of the credibility of this story. This plays a major part in doubting the credibility of this story.
The thing is, he also was super into pranks, and that wasn't so cool. He would wake me up in the middle of the night with these creepy voices and laughed whenever I screamed.
So we can see that Bran is basically Johnny Knoxville by any other name. He's a jackass, a prankster.
What's up, school? What's up, nerds?
I mean, Bran, what are you doing? Why are you making stupid, creepy voices and trying to frighten her in the night? So she goes on to say, you know, that type of prankster that paints the floor with butter.
Do you know that kind of prankster that paints the floor with butter just to see you stumble to the floor? Yeah, well, that was Bran.
She says that like it's familiar to us. I've never come across anyone that paints the floor with butter. For one, it's a waste of good butter. But more importantly, secondly, which should have been number one, it's not funny. It's not a funny thing to do. Actually saying that, a friend of mine, David Flood, we went to a party once and he did this trick, like you may see it on some of these teen movies, where you get cling film and you put it over the toilet seat. You've had a few drinks, you're not as compos mentis as you were earlier on in the night, haven't got your wits about you as much. You can imagine people go in there, sit down, go to do their business, and they make all sorts of beautiful Rorschach pictures and bum blots. But yeah, he's stopped doing that now, thank God. He's had 2 kids and he's grown up a bit. So yeah, which couldn't have come quick enough in my opinion. So if you're watching this, David, thank God for that. She says, I even hurt my head once.
Imagine always being worried about what your boyfriend is going to do next, because he might either be super sweet and caring or pull another silly prank. I even hurt my head once because he put tape across the door. I smacked my forehead with it and fell backward, hitting my head on the way down.
Oh, that explains the paralysis down the right side of her body then. Okay, now we're getting more of a clearer picture.
I had to actually get stitches, but Bran found it hilarious. I refused to speak to him for like a full week after that. He apologized and bought me flowers, which was sweet, but a few days later, the pranks just started again.
So he's called Bran and she's called Britta. Now, if that isn't a rye-based crisp bread company in the making, I don't know what is. Rye Vita or Bran and Britta? I know which one I'm reaching for each time. Or it's Cockney Rhyming Slam.
I've been on the Britta all night after eating that brand McGuts. Oh, help me. Help me, somebody. Help me.
Help me. Somebody help me. So through Britta, we can see Bran has got this perverse obsession with pranks and finding the pain in others and suffering funny, which to me is borderline psychopathy. I think he's definitely up there on the hair psychopathy spectrum. Now, this next section of the video is a tricky one. I didn't know how to handle this.
Bran was also the kind of guy who loved to surprise his girl in nice ways. Whenever he got any extra money from his parents or a bonus at work, he'd buy me super sweet gifts. Oh, you should have seen the gorgeous ring he got me once, and all the pretty dresses. And once, well, he got me this big, white, fluffy teddy bear. It was larger than me. It took up half my bed, but I didn't mind. It was simply the cutest thing I had ever seen. I loved it, and thanked him so much for it. Funny thing was, we weren't celebrating any special occasion or anything of the sort. He just gave it to me to show me how much he loved me. Or so I thought.
But you may have noticed, those of you eagle-eared and eagle-eyed, not so eagle-eared, I don't know what eagle's ears are like, but eagle-eyed anyway, she said he bought me this big white fluffy teddy bear. Now, if we rewind the tape...
He got me this big, white, fluffy teddy bear. White, fluffy teddy bear. Fluffy teddy bear. Fluffy teddy bear.
You can clearly see that teddy bear is brown. And now, with Rachel tensions the way they are at the moment, I think you need to take a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror. No, that's the wrong channel. To see if you really want to be sending out the message that it's okay for white teddy bears to brown up. How do we know that that brown teddy bear is not really the white teddy bear, but browned up? We just don't know. We just don't know. He said he bought it for me because he loves me, or so I thought.
Ooh, troubles are brewing.
Well, the thing is, after my first year of college, I ended up meeting this incredible guy, John, at one of my classes. I truly did still care about Bran, but there was something about John. It was truly love at first sight. I saw him smile and just melted. It was as if we clicked from the start. We laughed and talked as if we had known each other for years.
Oh God, oh no, it's two-tone Johnny. Look at his face, then look at his neck, then look at his face. What are you doing to me? Out of the frying pan, into the fire. Just when I thought we'd put one hand grenade to rest, I get thrown another one. I mean, look at him. He looks like the full evolution of a Michael Jackson face. Are you okay? Are you okay, Johnny? Terrible joke. Moving quickly on.
When I met John, I realized that I had never truly been in love with him, just grateful for everything he had done for me. I liked him and everything, don't get me wrong, but he simply wasn't the right guy for me. I wanted to stay friends with him because I still cared deeply about Bran, so I decided to explain to him what was on my mind. "Look, Bran," I said to him, "I truly care about you, and I'll always be your friend, but I'm not happy with the way things are going. You keep making these terrible pranks, and it's getting worse every time. You've told me you're going to quit a million times, and you never do. So, I think it's best if we broke up. I hope that we can still be close after this, but as a couple, we just aren't working out anymore." Well, that was when we obviously broke up. He didn't take it too well. But after a while, it seemed he accepted it. Bran explained he'd need some time apart before actually being able to be my friend, and I understood it completely. After all, we had been dating for a long time. So anyway, John and I started going out. It was amazing. With him, I learned what true love really was about. I wasn't constantly on edge and afraid a prank was coming my way, and things didn't get solved with pretty presents. He was actually sweet and caring to me in a way Bran never had been. I began looking back and seeing all the toxic things about my life back then. I'm not saying Bran was a bad guy, at least not then, but he wasn't the right person for me either. The weeks turned into months, and my relationship with John continued to improve. It was incredible, like I had finally found my better half. Well, the thing is, Bran still had the key to my apartment. I never thought to ask it back, and figured he would just throw it away or something. He didn't, and you won't believe what he did next.
Bran still had the key to my apartment, ... Ooh, subtle there. Normally, you would have what they call in the film biz a flashing arrow, where an object that's going to play a major part in the film or the story, they would zoom in, they'd focus on it for a second or so, and then that would be it, and that would be called a flashing arrow. It would indicate to the audience that that's going to play a part later on in the film or story. Normally there would be foreshadowing, but not. They like to hit you over the head of it. BAM! He's got the key to my apartment, ... What will happen? I think we can all read the subtext there and understand what's going on.
One night, John and I came back into my dorm. I didn't know Bran was there, hiding. I'd find out about it many months later. John got down on one knee and gave me this beautiful ring. Oh, I couldn't believe it. I was so happy. Of course, we were too young to get married, but not to get engaged. We'd give each other time to finish college before actually setting a date, but at least we both knew where our relationship was heading. I was so happy and kissed him, holding him tight. We were intimate that night, and John slept over afterward. 3 months later, I discovered I was pregnant. Now this might seem only natural to you. I was with John, and he got me pregnant, right? Wrong! It was around that time that Bran sent me a text message. He hadn't been talking with me at all over the past few months, so I found it weird. I had figured he simply didn't want to remain friends after all, you know? When I read the text, I went so pale, believe me. I couldn't believe what he had sent me. Bran explained that he had snuck into my flat multiple times using the key I had given him. He even saw John propose to me, and oh boy, he wasn't pleased about it. So he snuck into my dorm again the very next night, and actually got inside the big teddy bear he had given me.
He maybe has a little penchant for the dressing up as a furry, a plushie.
Can you believe it wasn't really a gift, but part of an elaborate plan? Back when we were dating, he had bought it to scare me. The teddy bear was big enough for him to fit inside it, and the idea was that he'd slip into it one night and wake me up making growling sounds and flapping the teddy's arms around. But instead, since I had dumped him, he decided to sneak into the toy bear after we broke up. I loved to sleep cuddling the toy, and he knew it. So one night, before I got into my room, he snuck into the teddy and waited for me to come home and fall asleep. He got me pregnant, using the teddy bear to be in my bed while I rested, and I never even realized what he was doing.
Now we have come to the especially dubious section of the video. So, we know that if he's to get in that teddy bears are made up of stuffing on the inside to make them soft and cuddly. So, to fit in a teddy bear, you're going to have to take that stuffing out. Otherwise you won't be able to fit a human body inside, because you need it just so that it's like a costume. So if he was to do that, then that would make teddy bear limp and thin like a costume. So the only way he couldn't leave it like that, because if she was to look at it or move it somehow, she would obviously see that the stuffing's been removed and something's awry with her teddy bear. So he must have done this just before she went to sleep. And in order to do this, because she sleeps with her teddy bear, the teddy bear must have been on the bed. So that's like a precondition for this to work. The teddy bear must be on the bed and the stuffing must have been taken out. Okay, so yeah, he could do that. He could take the stuffing out, he could put it in a cupboard, then put the bear costume on, which is now essentially a bear costume, lie on the bed, and then just wait for her to get in the bed. However, when she gets in the bed, she's going to touch the bear, and the bear is not going to have the same texture or malleability as it usually does, because it's not got the stuffing in. It's now got a human body in there, so it's going to be dense to touch, and you can't move it in a way that you would move a teddy bear. So immediately, unless she just lies prone or supine but just still like that and doesn't move or touch the teddy bear, but nobody does that. She has the teddy bear in there for a reason, maybe for comfort, to help her sleep. So she's obviously going to put her arm or touch the teddy bear in some way. So immediately this is very suspicious, because to move, say she moves the teddy bear's arm or the leg, it's going to weigh like the amount of a human arm or human leg, not just light fluffy stuffing in there. So this I find very difficult to believe. My cynicism, my cynical hat is firmly on with this one. Okay, my bullshit detector's rattling. My bullshit detector's rattling. Right, and now we come to the very contentious, rather difficult part of the video. Help me, somebody help. And that's where Bran commits the crime. How, in order for him to do his business, to rape her, which essentially does, sounds so horrible saying that word, but that's what happened. In order to do that, garments have to be taken off. So, and appendages are put into orifices, and there's a coming together of bodies, of impact. So, are you telling me, wouldn't someone normally wake up, or, if they've not been drinking and they're sober and they've not been drugged or anything like that? The only way I guess that could work is perhaps if he was a needle dick or she is a narcoleptic. But it seems rather unlikely that she wouldn't have woken up when all this was going on to her. So, a big question mark against that.
He got me pregnant, using the teddy bear to be in my bed while I rested, and I never even realized what he was doing. Bran admitted in his text that he was doing all of this to get back at me and to ruin my life for dumping him. He thought it was so funny. I'm so mad.
That's a rattle I hear again of the bullshit detector going off. Because if you remember, we were told that Bran is super smart and aces all of his classes. That's what Britta told us at the very beginning. But we're led to then believe that he took leave of all his senses because he thought it was so funny what he did to her that he sent her a message letting her know as much, which is basically a confession. Now, if you were someone that's super smart and aced all your classes, would you be doing this? Well, there are other ways to let her know rather than a confession like that. As evil as it may sound, but if he was smart, would he do that? I don't think so.
I don't even know what to do. I don't even know if I should tell John that the baby isn't his, because the explanation of how I actually got pregnant is so incredibly insane. What if he doesn't believe me, even if I show him the text? I really, really need some advice. What should I do? Please tell me in the comments. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Would you go to the police? Confront Bran? Keep quiet about the whole thing? I don't want to let Bran ruin my life, and John will believe me if I tell him it's his baby. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and check out our other videos on the channel.
This is a worry that I've got about Britta, because through this, she's obviously the victim, but then she's thinking that if she told John it was his baby, he would believe her. But this means either A, you didn't use contraceptives and John was aware of this, or B, you didn't use contraceptives but John didn't know about this. And if it is A, then you don't know who the father is. And if it is B, then you have to explain to John why you lied. The way the story's been told implied you did use contraception with John, because you seem quite sure that Bran is the father. But this is not completely clear from the story. If John is a good guy, you can tell him the truth and he'll support you. There's only one rational choice, and that's to tell the police and John. Then he can be prosecuted and stop him from doing this again, and you can have a paternity test and be sure if it's John or Bran's baby. That's what I would do if I was in your position. But wait a minute. Shut up, Adam. What are you talking about? Okay, hear me out. See, I got another theory. This is a bit of a wild one. This could all be at the hands of her parents all along. I know that sounds crazy. Yeah. Shut up, Adam. You don't know what you're talking about. You've gone mental. But wait. Right? If you rewind the tape at the beginning, you will see in the centre of the living room there is a framed picture of a teddy bear. Now, who frames a picture of their teddy bear and puts it in the front room? That's a bit odd, isn't it? Was there someone inside that teddy bear when the picture was taken? We just don't know. There's not enough evidence. Let me know down in the comments below if you think this is a true story and what Britta should do and what the outcome should be. Thanks for watching. Come and join me next time. Make sure you hit subscribe and like and the bell button so it lets you know when my next video is, and I'll see you next time. What's his name? I forgot his name now. Robert where? But apart from that, no.